Everybody ready? Chief, on you, ma'am.
Good afternoon again. Thank you for joining us. Today we are sharing body-worn camera footage of the incident that occurred on December 14th in the 400 block of North 25th Street, which is involving an officer-involved shooting. We will again reiterate, as we did before, to the public numerous times over and over, and with having these officer-involved shootings, of our new officer-involved shooting protocol. And we are making every effort to be consistent and stay within the procedure. And we are making great strides in making sure we keep our commitment. Our goals are to help provide greater transparency and give the community a better understanding of what to expect during these investigations. LMPD's Public Integrity Unit now leads the investigations into officer-involved shootings. LMPD releases body-worn camera footage within 10 business days after the shooting. If for some reason we cannot meet the deadline, we will clearly communicate that to the public and the media. We provide updates to the media 30 days after an incident. A copy of the case is turned over to the Commonwealth Attorney's Office for determination of final disposition. A copy will be provided to Kentucky State Police for a thorough peer review. A copy goes to the Louisville Office of Inspector General in compliance with our existing Memorandum of Understanding. And I personally oversee these investigations. We owe the affected families a thorough investigation, and we owe a duty to the public to release the footage while being as respectful to the families as possible. As always, we continue to ask the community to share any relevant information you can with us by calling anonymously at 502-574-LMPD. Help from our communities is always welcome, and we are grateful when people do come forward and provide information to assist us. Now, Deputy Chief Paul Humphrey will walk us through the body-worn camera footage of this incident. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. This is going to be an update on the officer-involved shooting that took place on December 14th at approximately 8:45 p.m. at 429 North 25th Street in the 1st Division. We received a 911 call of a person being held hostage at that location, and 1st Division officers responded, and the situation ultimately ended in an officer-involved shooting involving one victim and one suspect being injured. And just a reminder, our body-worn cameras do have a 30-second buffer where there is no audio that will be on the beginning of it. It is an independent third-party view. It is not the exact view of the officer, and the officer's perspective is still a important part of this that is separate from what you see on the body camera, and I will explain how that comes into play here because one of the body cameras does not show what the officer sees because of its positioning. Safety priorities. So I've talked about safety priorities before, and as a reiteration, we start with the values of all life is sacred, and our decisions are based on who is in imminent danger and who has the ability to control the situation. So when we're thinking about a hostage situation, a hostage is a person who has a threat directed towards them and does not have the ability to remove themselves from the situation. That's why it is so important that we prioritize any de-escalation strategies to be to their benefit. Next are any civilians that might be involved, so other people inside the house, people next door, things like that, that we have a duty to protect but might not have the threat directed towards them. And then finally, we take steps to protect ourselves because we have the ability to protect ourselves, but we have a responsibility to victims, hostages, and civilians first. And the suspect has the ultimate control of every situation. If we make decisions the right way, any decisions to use force are ultimately because of the decisions that the suspect made, and we try to put ourselves in the best position possible if that has to happen. Now, this came in as a 911 call of a hostage with kids in the house. It was not that kids were the hostages, but the female said that her brother had a gun, he had a hostage, and that her kids were also in the house. So when we're talking about hostage situations, we have to define what a hostage is. So this is the definition that our SWAT team uses when talking about hostages. And is the person free to leave? Are they being held by overt or implied force? And so that would be deadly force or the threat of serious physical injury. That is a severe level of threat that the hostage would be under at that point. And then does the suspect indicate that they can or will harm the hostage? And do they have the means by which to harm the hostage? Or can we ascertain if they have the means at that time in a reasonable way? Remembering that officers do not have all the information available to them at the time that we have after the fact, and they have to act based on situational awareness that they're able to get at the time that they make these decisions. While multiple officers are on scene during this incident, 2 officers did fire their departmentally issued rifles, patrol rifles. They are Officer Shane Edmondson and Officer Jeffrey Goldman. They are both assigned to the 1st Division Patrol, and they both graduated the academy on March 31st of this year, in 2023. The involved suspect is Kenneth Clark. He is a 30-year-old male, and he has a fairly significant history, including receiving stolen property and other charges that he was just let out of prison on in October. The victim in this case is going to be John Robinson. He was a 23-year-old male that is shot and killed by Mr. Clark. The 911 calls from this, what you're going to hear is you're going to hear what we call a 911 hang-up, which means someone calls 911, and before any pertinent information can be ascertained, they hang up the phone. We automatically call back in those situations to ensure that this wasn't just an accident and see if anything was going on. So you will hear that call back. That phone is ultimately disconnected again, and there is another 911 call. During these calls, you will hear the reporting person say that Mr. Clark is holding a gun to this person and he is refusing to allow them to leave, that he is possibly on drugs, and that there are children in the house.
Hello? This is 911. We had a hang-up from this number. Do you have an emergency? Yes. What's the address? Can you come to my address? 129 North 25th Street. And what's going on? My brother, I think he's getting some drugs. I don't know. I think he was late or something, but he's over here going crazy for his gun. No, he has a gun. He's waiting around and my daughter's in the house. Okay. And what's a good callback number for you? Just in the closet. And what's your brother's name? Kenneth Clark. This is 911. Yes, can you have someone sent to my house? What's the address? North 25th Street. Okay, what's going on there? My brother, he's on drugs and he got a gun pointed at my friend, and he would not let him leave out the door. Okay. And my daughter and my niece is in the house. Okay. What's his name? Kenneth Clark. What race is he? What color clothing is he wearing?
Okay, so while officers do not hear those calls, that information is relayed via dispatch to the officers. You can hear the volatility going on in the background, and she's relaying that this subject has multiple guns and is pointing guns at people. So he's clearly presenting himself as a deadly force threat to people inside the house. I understand it's hard to hear. Several of these videos are going to be hard to hear. I will do my best to explain to you what is being said if you do not understand it. Next video is going to be body-worn camera of officers making contact with one of the females inside the house. They have been on scene for several minutes at this point, but you will clearly hear her state that the subject is pointing guns, that he is not allowing the victim, John, to leave the room. and that you will hear his state of mind be described in the next 2 video clips by this female.
It was me and her.
How did you even fucking get
Me and Devin was in there at first. We was in her room. And we heard knocking at the door.
Where the kids at?
They back there. But when we was back there, he came knocked on the door. The boys, he said he's not gonna let him go. He feel like he's setting him up. Yeah, he has him in his pocket. And then you're still talking about that.
So 3 things that you heard there was that she said that he does still have the guns. She said the guns were in his pocket. That there are 3 people besides for the suspect in the room. So there are 2 male victims as well as a female that is in the room along with the suspect. What's not here but will be on the raw videos is that one of the males steps out and steps back in. You will see him ultimately get released here in just a second. And she also says that the suspect feels like he is being set up. We don't know in what way, but somehow he feels that the victim, John, is the person who is setting him up, and that is what has set him off. So this will be a further description by the female of what's going on in the room. It will cut off at the point where the other male suspect or male victim comes out of the room.
Well, it was, like I said, it was me and her at first. He came, and we noticed he was on something. He was on something different. So he just started talking, and he was tearing apart. He was like, that he felt like somebody was following him. He said somebody was in the house, but it was just me and her in the
So
house.
just recently you said something about holding people hostage.
At first he was right here. He wouldn't let you walk out the door. He came, and then I guess he's not cool with the dude that he was hanging with, so he felt like he was setting him up. But the dude didn't come here. His dude got dropped off. So,
What's his phone number?
Hold on, what's he wearing?
honestly, I don't know.
What does he look like?
They called me from downstairs. I went upstairs. They called me from downstairs, and I seen when he was pointing the guns at them. He told me to sit down. I tried to get up. He told me I couldn't get up.
Let me see your hands.
Okay, so what you heard was her saying that he is pointing guns at them and he is not allowing them to leave. You're also starting to get a picture of the irrationality of the male suspect. What you're going to get from the victim that comes out, officers are going to search him, debrief him, and try to get more information in order to gain situational awareness about what exactly is going on. And what he is going to explain is very descriptively say exactly what he's seeing as far as the suspect pointing guns at the victim's head, saying that the suspect is telling them he is willing to die, that if he sees police or encounters police, that he is going to shoot the victim, the suspect, that basically everybody's going out with him. You will start to see the volatility from the room begin to raise before officers have contact with them.
Step down, keep coming. Keep coming.
You don't want to stop, sir?
All right, hey, stop right there and turn around, face the wall, face the wall, face the wall.
Bring them back here, bring them back here, bring them back here. Hands, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay, so they pull that suspect down and they're going to debrief him over in the kitchen to get him out of the way where they can make sure that he's safe while they're talking to him.
Listen, bro, I ain't trying to be up to it. Listen to me. He got 2 guns, man. He got him to my dog's head, bro. So I'm not giving it to your dog or your friend. It's not fair. That's my dog. It's my nigga. Bro, in this system, he's tripping. He's saying we after him, bro. We just got her. Literally, we got a total of 3. He got 1 to a head, And then the other is his big sister.
You said he's holding on to it.
He's holding 2 guns to my dog's head, bro. I promise y'all, look, he's tripping. And he's willing to die. Yeah. So if y'all listen, no. Okay, I'm gonna say my nigga. I mean, my brother. I'm gonna say my brother. My dog means my brother. Yeah, my brother's up here. His big brother got 2 guns to his head. It's like he's ready to die, man. So he's willing, if he sees some police thing, he's willing to die. Instead of he's gonna shut the police mouth. I try to talk to him. And I'm like, he gambles, he's like this. I'm ready to show you this, but I ain't got nothing. He's like this. I want to get my this side. If I see him, they going with me. So I just want y'all to know that the door don't got no lock on it. I don't know nothing about nothing. All I know is if y'all, he's too police, I don't know. He's tripping, man.
We appreciate it.
He's on some shit.
Yeah,
so I know if he see y'all, he's really probably gonna shoot, bro.
Is he on something right now?
Leave them out. Leave them
I don't want to hurt, bro.
So that victim is not only relaying his interpretation of the suspect's mindset and being willing to die, but actually the suspect's words that he is willing to die and he is willing to shoot at police or the victim. And you have to think, when we talk about totality of circumstances, how that contributes to officers' decision-making in this context. Next, officers, again, still trying to get more information, still trying to figure out what exactly is going on, how to make decisions here. They FaceTime with the other female victim that is being held hostage inside the room. This is the suspect's sister, who is in the room also. And you will hear the officer describe what he sees on the FaceTime video.
Yeah, that's his face. Okay. Just let her face on. Just don't put your face on. I don't want him to think it's off this shit. Look, the camera, is he straight yet? How is he sitting? They straight, see, let John come out, man. How you looking? Let me see him. That's why he's straight.
Why the hell?
He's got 2 guns to his head right now, sitting by him. So she's sitting. How is she sitting in that room right now? She's sitting by the door. Yeah. Okay, so they're across the room.
Okay, so this is how my room set up. When you walk in, ain't nothing in there, so it's stuff on the floor. But when you walk in, it's the wall. I guess she's sitting on against the wall. And that by the trampoline. So the other one across over the way.
What's his name?
Is that his mama? Who is it? Oh no, this is police.
Yeah, we need you guys to step out.
So in the meantime, officers have requested additional resources from other officers, in addition to calling for a SWAT quick react team in order to try to bring more resources to bring this to a situation to an end. You heard the suspect or the victim here that was outside ask if he was straight, and you hear the victim inside say, "I'm not straight. He is not okay." And they are refusing to let him out. You hear the female victim say on that FaceTime call that he is not letting John go. The next clip will be from Officer Goldman's body camera at the bottom of the stairs. So this incident occurs over the course of 15 or so minutes, a little bit more than 15 minutes that they are there, and there is a clear escalation of the behavior that's going on inside the room. So what you will start to hear, it is difficult to hear because this is up the stairs, but listen for the officer to repeat what he is hearing from the top of the stairs. You can hear this go from a calmer situation to begin to start to get escalated almost to the point that it sounds like there's a physical confrontation inside. The suspect starts to explain or yell that he is going to sacrifice people in the room, that he is going to make sure that the victim is killed before he gets killed. So listen for that. The officer will relay part of that information also. So some of the things that you heard in that clip is there was an argument that ensued, something about closing the blinds, that the suspect wanted the blinds closed. What that's telling me is that the suspect is trying to set up the environment to his advantage so that nobody can see in from the outside. From my experience, that's a pretty good indicator of his intention to not surrender and to set up an unwinnable situation for us. He also said you are going to die before me or with me, to the victim, or explaining that to the female inside, that the victim is going to die in this situation also. He is showing his intent. You can hear the voices be escalated, and you can hear how the temperature in that room is starting to go up. This situation is rapidly deteriorating, out of control, and the level of imminence of danger to the victims inside is clearly starting to raise. Next, you'll see Officer Edmondson, who takes over the number 1 position from Officer Goldman. He will position himself on the steps. And as he hears this begin to escalate, they make a decision to go up the stairs. A basic principle of hostage rescue is cut down the distance between the victim and yourself, so that if you have to effect a rescue, you have the least amount of distance to go. That's part of what these officers do here, is go up the steps so that they can cut down that distance, gain greater situational awareness, and be able to put them in the most advantageous position in order to make an attempt to rescue these hostages.
What room are they in?
Shut. Go shut.
Take, go down. Go down. Hey, I need you to kick it and go that way.
Okay, so a couple of things that you heard that are important indicators. When you hear things like, I'm going to sacrifice you, or I love you, I love everybody, those are pretty good indicators that this is about to come to an end and some kind of action needs to be taken fairly quickly in order to make an attempt to save this hostage's life. So the officers will move up to the stairs, they will position themselves on the door, and they are ultimately going to kick the door and try to make entry in an attempt to save the hostage's life. I will show you a series of slides and explain to you what you're going to see once that door gets breached and opened up, so that you understand when you see the video exactly what is happening, because a lot of things happen very, very quickly. And so I want to be able to you to understand it the best that we understand it at this point while the investigation is still ongoing. So the door will come open partially. You will see just on the edge of the door, that is the suspect's right arm and right leg. He is holding a gun pointed directly towards the officer. He's actually pointing it at our victim in this case, who is standing behind the door. So that is the view of the suspect's arm as it starts to move as he fires a shot into the head of the victim. Ultimately, that is proved to be a fatal shot, and the victim begins to fall. Officer Edmondson begins to return fire, where you start to see the victim fall. You see his hand exposed at that point where he begins to fall, and you see a more clear indication of the suspect's gun. This is where I'm talking about the officer's perspective is different from the video perspective. The officer is wearing his video camera chest high, so it is not going to be an exact match of what the officer is able to see at the time. So as the officer returns fire, he does strike the suspect in the arm. The victim begins to fall. and there is a clear, more clear view of the suspect's gun and the victim falling all the way to the ground after being shot in the head by the suspect. Next will be the body camera from Officer Edmondson, picking up where it left off the last time. You are going to hear 3 distinct cadences of shots. When the door comes open, you will hear a single shot. That is the suspect shooting the victim. And obviously, I'll need to reiterate, this is the best of our understanding based on the video and all of the ballistic evidence that we do have at this point. So you will hear a single shot immediately. You will hear a series of rapid shots, somewhere between 3 and 5 shots. Those are the 2 officers firing shots. We do not know if the suspect fired shots during that same time period. The last 3 shots that you hear appear to be solely from the suspect inside the room. You will hear a single shot and then 2 final shots. The suspect is ultimately shot by us, and the suspect also has a gunshot wound to the head. We are trying to ascertain whether or not that gunshot wound is self-inflicted or whether we shot him in the head. He is still in critical condition at this time, and we will not be able to confirm that just yet.
He's on the left. Hey, stay where you are, stay where you are. Stay where you are. Stay there, stay there. Hey, get up and run to us now. Go. Downstairs. Anybody else in there?
We got one down.
Hey. Back up. Give me the shield.
Chill. Is there another person in there? I think there's supposed to be one more.
Yeah, on the right side.
See the back Patty, look in the crack.
Hey. Back it up. 2 people down.
2 people down.
Yeah, people down. So let's go. Let's go through. Can you see the other guy if he's down?
I can't. Can you get that door open more?
No.
We're walking.
2. Hey, if they're not moving,
Yeah, we need to render aid.
take the shield in. Go. Watch it.
All right. Let's get in there. Get in there.
Watch your hands.
All right.
Too many people don't crowd.
Hey! Somebody come get hands on now. Gun. He's got head injuries. He's gone. He's gone.
Almost got him.
I don't have any gloves.
Hey, Jeff.
So I know that was a lot that happened in a very short period of time. All of that happened in what looks like less than 4 seconds. I'm going to show you the video from Officer Goldman's perspective on the steps. This is not a very good perspective for you because of the way he's positioned on the steps and where his camera is. You can't really see anything because the wall is blocking his view. But Officer Goldman did fire his weapon as well. And so this picks up when they first ascend the stairs and go to the door.
crack, Petty. Look through the crack.
Hey, Petty, hey. Back it up, back it up. Two people down, two people down.
2 people down.
So after that, officers will go in and render aid. You'll see that they pull 2 guns off of the suspect, one from around the suspect's left side and one from underneath the suspect. That'll be this next video.
There's another gun. Watch out, watch out. He's got agonal breathing. We need to get him out of this room. I'm trying to get to him. Sorry. We ain't doing no good out there. Yeah. All right.
Here goes over here.
Hey, just grab his legs. Just grab his shoulders. Where you want to move? Just out of the ribs. Alright, you ready? It's gonna be
Hey, what's up? Why are we moving him right now?
we got the guns. It's good. I'm just gonna open this up.
Let's just work on that. What's where you need to come over here, man?
I'm trying to assess. I got no pulse.
So as I said, the suspect was shot by officers, and we are trying to determine whether or not the gunshot wound to his head was inflicted by officers or if it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The victim, Mr. Robinson, was shot in the head by the suspect. As he fell to the ground, he fell in the path of officer shots and was shot by an officer as well in the torso area. So the sequence of events was the door came open, the suspect shot Mr. Robinson in the head, officers returned fire as the victim fell. He fell to the ground and was struck by one of our rounds after he had already been shot and ultimately killed by the suspect. The next video you will see is the end of Officer Goldman's video exiting the structure out of the house.
Can anyone advise if there's still anything for it?
So I show that because it obviously is going to be released as part of the video, but I want you to understand these are life-changing events for officers. They just lost a hostage that they were doing everything they could in their power to rescue, and they were just involved in a shooting where they very easily could have been killed. They made decisions to put themselves at an increased level of risk, so as opposed to waiting outside the door and keeping themselves safe, they decided that they were going to take the risk to themselves in order to try to save that hostage and to still lose that hostage even when you rescue one. So ultimately in this, we started off with 3 hostages and we were able to rescue 2 of these hostages, one in the actual deliberate hostage rescue incident. But to lose a hostage is a very, very hard event for an officer, and you can see the toll that these events take on officers. Next is the guns that the suspect had. He was in possession of 2 guns. Ultimately, when the suspect shot, and those last sequence of shots, he shoots at the female victim, and he also shoots a round that goes through the floor and into the kitchen below. So when I talk about our safety priorities and protecting other people, obviously the other people that were in that house were not the direct targets of this violence. However, the officers made a very wise decision early on in this to get everyone out of the house. And clearly by doing that, they made a wise decision because anyone that was standing in that kitchen could have been struck by that round. One of the other things that you saw officers do is they brought up a shield A shield is a de-escalation tool because it gives you some level of protection. However, when you think about that in context of our safety priorities, a shield is a tool that protects us, right? And we are not as high on the priority list as the hostage, which is why you did not see the officers lead with the shield. We are much more capable and effective with two hands on our weapons instead of carrying a 35-pound shield and trying to shoot through an occluded viewpoint port that is provided by the shield. So again, officers making sound decisions in accordance with our safety priorities. So bring the tool up, call for more resources, but take the actions that you have to take that are directed towards de-escalating the situation for the benefit of the victims. Again, I keep reiterating both the safety priorities in our decision making and the Graham factors when it comes to these incidents. This is a perfect incident for you to understand how the totality of circumstances factor into the decision making and whether or not officers' actions were reasonable. When we're talking about the severity of the crime at issue, you don't get much more severe of a crime than someone pointing two guns at someone's head. The only thing more severe is them already pulling the trigger. So when we arrive into this situation, we are already dealing with a very, very severe, volatile situation. The immediacy of the threat cannot be de-emphasized in this situation. Not only do we have the information that we're getting from people who were interacting with the suspect, but we have our first-hand information of how the temperature in the room is changing and escalating, leading these officers to believe that a lethal force encounter between the suspect and the victim was imminent, and that this suspect was going to kill this victim one way or the other, and that they had to take action now in order to have any opportunity to save this victim's life. We look at the level of resistance or flight. Obviously, we don't have flight because he's not trying to get away, but the level of resistance is obviously using two human beings in order to prevent officers from taking him into custody. So when officers are hearing things like, if he sees the police, he's going to shoot, I'm going to sacrifice you, those are all factors that go into their decision making. These officers were placed in a very, very tough position. These incidents, obviously, we've shown you numerous officer-involved shootings over the years. I can't recall us having a video of a hostage rescue like this. They don't happen often. These officers were placed in a tense, uncertain, and rapidly evolving situation and had to make very, very difficult decisions in order to attempt to save this victim's life. And like I said before, ultimately, it's a sad day when you lose a hostage. I'm proud that the officers made the decisions the way they did and were able to save one person, and I pray for that the family of the deceased in this, as well as for the officers. You can see that this was a hard day for these officers. They were doing the best they could. So at this point, we'll open it to questions.
Isaiah WHS 11, looking at all this video from your experience, is there anything the officers could have done differently to potentially save the life of the hostage that lost it?
Okay, so the question is there anything from my experience that the officers could have done differently to potentially save the life of the hostage? I will tell you, ultimately in all of these situations, there's one person that has control of these situations. That's the suspect. Ultimate say and ultimate control goes to that suspect. So what are the factors that we can control in those things? And I will tell you from my experience, this was an unwinnable situation for those officers. I've had the good fortune to travel the country and the world and train and interact with a lot of SWAT officers that have been in a lot of situations. You are not going to take the most experienced SWAT officer in the world and win that gunfight. That person had set that situation up in a circumstance that we were not given an opportunity to be able to prevent that from happening.
What was the turning point? Obviously, the voice is being raised, but in that moment, similar to my last question in the previous video, what was the turning point where the officers, the crew said, listen, we got to go in there?
Yeah. So what was the turning point that ultimately drove the decision making of the officers to make entry right now? And granted, I'm giving you based on limited information that I have not been privy to the officers' interviews. But when you look at the totality of circumstances, right, as this all adds up, at a certain point, it's going to tip over. And the officers have to make a decision. They have really, there's only three decisions you can make at this point. right? They can sit there and do nothing, wait for the SWAT team to show up, which might be somewhere between 15 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour before we get that level of resources there, right? In the meantime, you're allowing a person who has shown no regard for human life to be in 100% control of whether or not these people live or die. You can go to the door, you can attempt to make contact and start a negotiation with this person, understanding that you cannot predict the reaction that you're going to get from that person. You've already been given information that this person is volatile, he's not in his right state of mind, he has a mental health history, he's just gotten out of prison, and you're getting specific information that if the person sees the police, he is going to kill people, right? So you take a chance there. Are those two options both reasonable? I can see where they would be reasonable options, right? These officers chose the third based on that totality, that we have to take a decisive action now, that we feel like that is our best opportunity to take some kind of intervention that's going to save the life of preferably both these hostages, but at least somebody. If I can make an action right now and that person turns their violence towards me, then I've been successful. Unfortunately, that might mean that I get hurt, but I'm willing to take that risk. If that person surrenders or we're able to neutralize that person before they're able to shoot this victim, then we have 100% success. What happens to that suspect is the decision of that suspect. But that, unfortunately, was not what happened in this case, and he chose to shoot the victim in the head before we could take action.
Natalia with Wave, 2 questions. Was the headshot fatal? And what is the relationship between the 3 people that were in that room?
Okay, the question was the headshot fatal? So he was shot in the brain, which was ultimately going to prove to be a fatal injury. And he did ultimately pass from the result of his injuries. And your second question was, what was the relationship between the people in the room? We haven't established a relationship between John, the victim, and the suspect. I don't know the nature of that relationship. You heard earlier in the videos that he felt some reason why the victim was setting him up. We don't know what that means, what that was about. If that was something related to him being on drugs, mental health issues, if he had committed other crimes that he was afraid he was going to get in trouble for, we don't know any of that. As far as the female in the room, I think the female was the sister of the suspect.
Mark Vanderhoff, WLKY News. What kind of services do you provide officers after these kinds of situations?
So the question was, what kind of services do we provide for officers in relation to these situations? So, recently we've talked at length about our new wellness program and our wellness center that we've established. And we have a full-time peer support sergeant, full-time wellness lieutenant, and their job is to coordinate resources. That is what they do 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, is make sure that officers involved in these situations and other situations, it's not just this. I think people, obviously this is a traumatic event. And I think people look at these events and they think those are the things that get officers. Well, one, we have daily stressors in our lives just like everybody else, and that takes its toll. But the toll that really is taken on officers, these events have a tendency to just be the straw that breaks the camel's back when an officer has issues. We are exposed constantly to bad lives. We don't interact with people on their best days. And that takes an emotional toll, and it's cumulative over time. And that is why we are dedicating resources. We make sure that we now have a full-time chaplain. We are in the process of reestablishing a full-time mental health service that's going to be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for officers. We have the employee assistance program for emergency services. We have contacts in the community with mental health services that we can direct officers towards. Do we always get it right? Are we the best at it? Maybe, maybe not. But we are definitely putting efforts into making sure that officers emerge from these events as healthy as possible. Yes, ma'am.
Kathy Patel, Spectrum News. There's a big discussion of social workers in situations like this. This incident is done, but could this incident have benefited from a social worker to help de-escalate earlier into the night rather than what we just saw?
So the question was, could this incident have benefited from social workers being involved earlier in the night? I don't know the specific circumstances that happened well before this. What I can tell you is that mental health services in this city are taxed, they're overwhelmed, and they do not meet the needs of the community. When we talk about, if we want to have a robust conversation about mental health services, we have to have a more robust deflection program. We are on the way to that. This would not have been a situation where we're sending mental health workers to. It is not a safe situation to put someone who can't defend themselves in. That being said, when we look at the mental health services that are available, we have to recognize and we have to be honest with ourselves about what's going on in the community. There are a lot of people in the community that are not mentally capable of taking care of themselves on a full-time basis, and we don't have those resources in the community to take care of them. If you look at every aspect of the criminal justice system, there is a local, state, and federal aspect of each when it comes to both enforcement, prosecution, and incarceration. We do not have that when it comes to dealing with people in the mental health system. While there are vouchers and there are programs that pay local entities back from the federal government, this problem is bigger than any city or state can handle. And there needs to be a federal aspect to being able to keep people in mental health facilities who are not capable of taking care of themselves. We ultimately do them a disservice, and it is inhumane to allow people who cannot take care of themselves to be out on the street. And I don't know what specifically his mental health issues were, but he was recently treated for mental health issues. And frankly, had he been in a facility where someone was seeing to those needs, we might be talking about a completely different situation where we're not having this press conference dealing with both his severe injuries that we don't expect him to survive from, as well as the victim who's ultimately been killed.
Stefan Johnson, WDRB News. Do you know why he was in prison and how long he's been out?
I do have that. We can get you the specifics later. But he had a criminal history of receiving stolen property, and I cannot remember, but he spent time in federal custody. I don't know exactly what for, but over the course since 2012, he's been in and out of prison multiple times and just served a 5-year sentence where he was released in October of this year, October of 2023.
Correct me if I'm wrong, you had mentioned that there were 3 hostages in total?
Yes. So initially, the male that you saw come out and gave us the information about he's pointing guns at my dog's head.
Who is he?
I don't know his relation to it. You will see on the raw, and it will take us a minute to get the raw up on this one. So give us a couple of hours after this press conference to get it all up. But you will see on the raw that he actually comes out early and goes back in. And he said he was trying to de-escalate that situation and trying to talk Mr. Clark out of the situation, and ultimately wasn't able to, and was able to leave.
It was him, the suspect's sister.
Correct.
And then John Robinson.
Correct.
Had the sister in this case, had there just been one hostage, just John and the suspect in this case, would the response have been any different? Does that change things?
So the question is, had there been just one suspect and one victim in the room, would the response be different? No, it doesn't change the level of threat to an individual. The threat was imminent to one person that needs their life protected, and that's good enough for us.
The guns, were they stolen? Do you know who they belong to?
I don't know how he obtained the guns. Obviously, he's a convicted felon who should not be in possession of guns. That's a problem that we keep coming back to. I know you've done stories on this, and the mayor talks ad nauseum about, as well as the chief, about illegal possession of firearms in this community and how devastating it is. It's not every day that we have a firsthand viewing of how damaging those, illegal possession of firearms are. We will eventually try to get to the bottom of that if we can, of where those guns came from and how he obtained them. But right now, I don't have that information.
Did you mention this, the suspect's status, what he will be charged with?
The suspect, if he survives, will face murder charges, but he is in grave condition at this point.
To clarify, you did say the SWAT was on their way, right?
Yes, so SWAT was called.
Would that have included a hostage negotiator?
Yes, so at that point, I'm not sure exactly what the page that went out was. Officers got on the radio, requested a SWAT QRT, which is kind of a rapid response version of SWAT. And as more information comes in, that gets updated. And in those situations, negotiators would have come out, so it would have been a full SWAT call out like you've seen before in the past. Yep.
Is it confirmed for our purposes that the suspect in this case was on some form of drugs, narcotics, something, or is that still?
So we haven't confirmed whether he was on drugs or anything like that at this point, or alcohol.
Lily Burris, Committee Center for Investigative Reporting. Will there be any type of investigation or process into the officers involved in the shooting?
Yeah, so the question was, will there be an investigation process into the officers' involvement in the shooting? Yes, so PIU is conducting the criminal side of the investigation. So they will conduct the vast majority of this to start. They will turn that case over to the Commonwealth about whether or not criminal charges will be brought about on whether it's the officer's account or the suspect's account or anything else that comes up from it. And the case is also being investigated simultaneously by professional standards, which will investigate for any violations of departmental policy, including all of the decision-making as well as the decisions to fire their weapons. And again, it will go to our performance review board that will do a performance evaluation based on subject matter experts. So in that, the performance review board will talk about areas of improvement, needs to change policy, training, equipment, look at supervision. If the officers involved need to have some sort of supplemental training or anything like that. So this will be reviewed in 3 different ways. It'll be reviewed from a criminal aspect, it will be reviewed from an administrative aspect, as well as from a performance aspect to see what lessons we can learn, as we want to make sure that similar events like this, there are always lessons to be learned, always ways to improve, and that's one of the things that I'm proudest of the department, is that over the course of the last few years, we've really put an emphasis on not letting any of these events go by without somehow improving ourselves based on them. So even when officers perform well, we want to know, did you perform well because your training, equipment, and supervision and policy led you to perform well, or was it because you were exceptional? And if you perform poorly, what changes, what is the source of that, and what do we need to do as a result?
Do you have the numbers on how many events like this occurred this year and how many investigations are still active?
I believe this is our 9th. This is our 10th officer-involved shooting this year.
Do you know how many of those investigations into officer-involved shootings are active?
We can get you those numbers after on how many are still active.
Let's do a couple more, please.
Before this wraps up, can you give us a status update on the officers involved in Slushygate?
So we've already we've dealt with Slushygate before, and we are in the process of putting all of that information, all of the videos, all of the disciplinary documents on our website. But the chief will be available at another time. That's not what this press conference is for, to give more information about that at a later date.
But it obviously reopens a lot of old wounds. People are watching these videos today. They're watching them right now. Do you have anything that you want to say to people who are watching these videos tonight or tomorrow?
So it's absolutely understandable that we get that opens old wounds, and look, that is a dark moment in our history. And the chief will be available to talk about that. We're trying to focus on this incident right now, understanding that you have to ask those questions, but we are going to put out all of that information on our transparency page, and we will have comments related to that incident at another time.
That's it. Thank you. SWAT specifically, 15 minutes after they were on scene, it looks like. What's the typical SWAT response?
Here, I'll answer this question.
Just to get
So what is the typical?
When is SWAT called in a domestic situation?
So in this situation, they actually called SWAT very quickly. This happened within 15 minutes. It was about halfway into this that they called for SWAT. Obviously, you're talking about at night. Some of these SWAT officers are on duty, some of them aren't. So whatever time it takes for them to travel there, I think we actually did have 2 SWAT officers that got there within a few minutes after the shooting occurred. But a full SWAT call out, it takes time to get all of those resources. You're talking about somewhere between 15 and 35 people between SWAT and H&T that we have to get from home to that location. So, thank you.